Welcome to the Disneyland with Kids podcast, where we help you plan your vacation in 30 minutes or less. Calling all foodies, join the Disneyland with Kids Facebook group for all the treats you won't want to miss on your next visit. On this episode of the Disneyland with Kids podcast, we're going over the ins and outs and best finds in the official Disneyland app. I'm Jessica from the happiest blog on earth.
And I'm Leslie from Trips with Tykes.
Leslie, I remember when the Disneyland app came out in 2015, and I was so glad to have an official Disney app for our West Coast parks.
For sure. It was long overdue. And as someone who goes to both Disney coasts, I go to Disney World often, they really had the technology advantage for quite a few years. They had a huge addition with the Magic Bands and the My Disney Experience in 2013. And we were sitting over here on the West Coast, just kind of twiddling our thumbs and waiting for our turn to come. So it finally did come, and it's really radically changed the way that we go to Disneyland in the last 5 years. Is that right?
It has changed the way we do so many things. And I think everyone needs the Disneyland app. But the first thing we need to know is where we're going to find it. How much does it cost? Let's talk about the actual app itself.
Sure. So the official Disneyland app is what we're talking about today. It's free, so there's no reason you shouldn't download it on your smartphone. We should make one clarification here before we get in too deep, is that Disneyland has several different apps, and the other one that you might see is the Play Disney Parks app when you check out app options. And that's a great one to have too, but that's not the one you're going to need for sort of the daily logistics, which is the official Disneyland app. So to find it, just search for the word Disneyland in app stores, and it should be the first one that pops up. It's a nice little blue icon with a castle. You kind of can't miss it.
Perfect. If you don't have it downloaded, you can download it right now while you're listening to the podcast, and you'll log in with your Disney account. Now, that's the same account that you use on Disney Plus and Shop Disney, things like that. One of the major benefits to having the app now is the excitement it helps you build for your upcoming trip and becoming familiar with what the app can do for you. So let's talk about some of our favorite features of the Disneyland app.
There really are so many, but the first thing that most people start with is tickets. That's something that, you're going to buy ideally before your vacation, and we'll mention that why in a second, but you're going to want to scan your tickets into the app. You can actually use your smartphone after you scan your tickets in for a lot of different things, but it's really just so convenient. So when you do get a ticket, you can simply scan the barcode or enter it right into the app. There's so many different features there that just allow you to have easy access to everything at Disneyland without pulling out a bunch of different pieces of paper and worrying about losing something. I mean, that's what's so great about this, because I remember the good old days where I had to make sure, like, my young kids didn't lose a park ticket if I gave it to them for a second, and no longer those worries, right?
Oh my goodness, yes. I love having my tickets stored in the app as a backup. I actually prefer using the paper tickets in the parks, but having the apps makes me chill out a lot more. And I've actually been in customer service and guest services with people who have lost their tickets, and it's just a pain to figure out like how many days they've used and what features they had added onto their tickets, all kinds of things like that. So also, when you get your tickets from Getaway Today beforehand, those are the same tickets that you can actually scan in the app. And that gives you like even extra backups because you have it in your email, you have it in your app, and then once you walk through the gates, they'll give you that actual cute little paper ticket.
That's right. And you mentioned Getaway Today. They, of course, are our preferred partner here at Disneyland with Kids. And the reason we think that you should purchase your tickets if you're going for more than one day from Getaway Today is because, of course, you get a discount from them. You can purchase tickets direct from Disney in the Disneyland app, but you'll pay more. So there's just simply no reason to pay extra, right, Jessica?
For sure. Another way the Disneyland app helps so much is the interactive map. I love the cute paper maps, but we can almost see Disneyland in real time with our next favorite feature. What is that, Leslie?
Well, of course, I love the wait times because, as I've said many times, I am a ride enthusiast when I go to Disneyland, and I want to work out the perfect strategy for going from attraction to attraction and not waiting very long in line. And it used to be you had to have all sorts of different third party apps to track how long the lines were at Disneyland. And now it's all integrated directly on the Disneyland app. You know, it's not perfect because Disney uses its estimated wait times, and sometimes the attractions have shorter lines than the posted wait times. But, you know, hey, it's as good as you're going to get, right?
Totally. And speaking of wait times, the Disneyland app helps us cut those wait times, sometimes by even an hour or more I've had. How can we cut wait times with a free app?
So, a couple of years ago, Disneyland unveiled its very own addition to its Fastpass service, Disney Max Pass. This is a paid upgrade, and it keeps getting a little more expensive every time we record podcast episodes about it. As of right now, when we're recording in late 2020, it's $20 for when the parks reopen. But I don't think that price is going to go up for quite a while if it does make a comeback. But Disney Max Pass is really just fantastic. It allows you to book your Fast Pass reservations on your smartphone using the Disneyland app, and it just is so much more flexible. We have, separate episode on Disney Max Pass, but it really allows you to navigate the parks, book Fast Passes in the other park without having to exit and re-enter and get paper slips like you used to be able to have to get. This is really just a huge addition. And I should mention it's $20 per person, per ticket, per day. So it does add up, but it's an upgrade that I definitely splurge on almost every time I go to Disneyland.
Yeah, I love Disney Max Pass too, and I think it's totally worth the money. I think Disney just really got it right with the Max Pass. Now, there are also some virtual queues on the Disneyland app. I think that makes it a little bit confusing, but those ones don't require a paid upgrade. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, this really does get confusing because this is a new addition within the past year that came out when Star Wars Galaxy's Edge opened. And initially, Disneyland had a virtual queue just to enter the land when it was such high demand. And then that shifted to a virtual queue to ride Rise of the Resistance, which is the popular newest attraction in Galaxy's Edge. So this is something that's free. You don't have to pay for a Max Pass. You don't have to pay an additional extra charge. This is simply for Disney to control the crowd flow and the lines for its most popular attraction. And it has been largely a success. I mean, it has been sort of crazy in the mornings when everybody tries to flood the parks and get that coveted spot in the virtual queue. But a lot of people are speculating Disney will continue to use it, maybe look for it when Avengers Campus opens, perhaps. But this is something definitely to be aware of and realize that this could change on a dime. So this is something where you need to follow the latest Disneyland news and understand how things in the app are changing in real time.
Right. And the virtual queue is actually the only way to get on that attraction at the time of this recording. So it's not like an added bonus that's nice to use and you can still go get in line. Like you have to use the virtual queue. So it's really a game changer. But the next feature in the Disneyland app ties in really well with Star Wars Galaxy's Edge because when we were there over the opening weekend of the new land, there were some longer lines in that part of the park. And everyone wanted to get their hands on new food in Galaxy's Edge. So tell our listeners how we use the app to save even more time and enjoy all the delicious Disneyland food.
Sure. So the first thing you need to know about Disneyland food is if you want to dine at some of the sit down restaurants, you want to make dining reservations. Those are very popular. You can't just walk into a lot of the more popular ones. So you want to make dining reservations, and Disneyland opens those up up to 60 days in advance so that you can start downloading your Disneyland app and checking for dining reservations 2 full months before your trip. So definitely be sure to do that. And I know you and I have sometimes been refreshing early in the morning, 60 days out, trying to get reservations to places like Blue Bayou and Lamplight Lounge. So we
You
highly
know
recommend
it.
that. Priorities, right, Jessica? You're the foodie of the bunch, right?
100%.
So, and the other thing that folks should know, and this has just been revolutionary for a lot of us in the last couple of years, is mobile ordering. You can order food at quick service restaurants on your phone without having to stand in those long cashier lines and, worry about whether some specialty request is going to get heard or not. You can do that all right there in the app. Order, pay, your annual pass discount will be applied, all of that good stuff, and pick it up at a special window. I mean, this is a huge time saver and cut down on lines. And when you have young kids, you don't want to wait another line, right?
It's so easy. We often do mobile ordering while we're getting ready to board a ride, and then we'll pick up our food right afterwards. It just makes it so much easier. And, Disneyland food is one of the things I think I miss most when I'm away from the parks. I also use mobile ordering to take my food to go. So we've done that plenty of times when staking out spots for parades or watching our favorite characters interact on Main Street. So you pick up your food and just take it wherever you want to eat. You don't necessarily have to eat in that restaurant seating area.
That's a great tip. And one thing we should also mention about mobile ordering, if you are there on a very busy weekend, holiday, something like that, you're trying to eat at peak lunch or dinner time, it could be that you can't mobile order your food immediately. So, watch things. You might need to place an order, maybe even up to a half hour in advance to try to pick up the food at the moment you want it. So just watch that, especially if you're there during busy times.
That's a great tip, Leslie. So let's keep going through the Disneyland app, moving towards entertainment and other options at Disneyland Resort.
Certainly. So I know you remember, Jessica, as well as I do, the old paper maps and entertainment schedules that we all used to carry around and stuff in our purses and backpacks. And you don't have to have that anymore. We've already mentioned the maps on the Disneyland app, but the Disneyland app also has entertainment schedules now. So if you want to know where the Dapper Dans are singing next, or you want to know what the parade time is, you can check all of that in the app, which is just so great for planning out your day or really just making changes on the fly. If you realize, hey, I'm in this spot and this great singing group that I wasn't planning to see is going to be starting in 5 minutes, then there you go.
Yeah, you're going to hang around a little bit longer. Another thing that the app has is fast passes for World of Color and Fantasmic, which changes everything too, because we used to have to go to the actual location for the paper version. Kind of tricky keeping everything in place. We've got Max Pass that's paid. We have virtual queues that are free.
Yeah, it really is. I think we need to make a spreadsheet to help people track this because, it really didn't used to be the case that the app had this many options and this many different variations. So at least I guess the silver lining is it's gotten so much more robust, right?
Right. And it just makes your vacation so streamlined if you know what you're looking for. And that's why I love that we're diving into this before some folks get back to the park so that they can know what they can mess around with within the app right now.
That's right. And we've forgotten one more feature that we have to mention. Talked about the Dapper Dans and the shows and the nighttime entertainment. But the other thing that you can see on the app now is where to meet your favorite Disneyland characters. And this is a highlight for so many guests. They want to see their favorite characters. They want to know where they are. And the times really are very confusing. Different characters have different windows. They take breaks at different times. So you can see this all right on the Disneyland app, on the map, where the characters are located, what times they will be there, and which characters there are. Super clutch, right?
Yes, that's a great tip, Leslie. Spotting your favorite characters goes perfectly with the next Disneyland app feature I wanted to bring up, and that is Disney Photo Pass service.
Yes, and we've talked about this, I'm sure, on many podcasts in the past, but Disney's PhotoPass service is just fantastic. This is where Disney photographers will take your photo. You can scan a little barcode that's in the Disneyland app to load the photos to your account. And if you have MaxPass, PhotoPass is included. You get all those photo downloads for free. You can also purchase it separately, but MaxPass is the cheaper way to do it. So I highly recommend at least getting MaxPass for one person in your party to get those photos. But this is a great way to kind of get everybody in the family in a picture and, get those iconic shots with a camera that's better maybe than the one on your smartphone, so you can avoid those selfies and all of that kind of stuff. But I am a huge fan of that as well. I mean, I always get MaxPass, so I'm also always getting PhotoPass. What about you, Jessica?
I love having the photo pass. It also includes the ride photos. So no longer are you taking a picture of a picture because you can have that actual photo. And like we mentioned, you can download those photos. They are yours. You download them, you can print them wherever you want, or they can live forever on your phone. They are totally yours to distribute, and there's not going to be like a big watermark on them or anything like that.
Super, super important.
Leslie, is there anything else we should know about the Disneyland app before we head out on our next Disneyland trip?
Well, there are a couple of other little things that you should check out, and some of these you might even not notice until you need them, like the location of the bathrooms, the location of portable charging stations. That's really key. I know a lot of us run through our batteries at Disneyland on our phones, and you're going to not want to do that because you're going to want to keep using the Disneyland app, and you can find out where you can charge your phone, all that good stuff. But yeah, there are just a lot of little things. So I really do highly recommend, long before your vacation, kind of just poking around, seeing what's under each menu, expanding things, just figuring out so that you're used to it and you know where to go when you're walking around the parks or standing in line.
Yeah, and I think this is a great opportunity to get your kids involved with the planning process too. They will love messing around on the Disneyland app before their trip and during, and I bet they'll probably find a few tips that you didn't even know about. There are so many great features to explore. It's easy to see why the Disneyland app is such a winner. Looking ahead, I think we're going to be relying on the Disneyland app even more once Disneyland reopens. We've already seen some changes happening at Downtown Disney and Walt Disney World. Let's talk about how the Disneyland app is going to come into play real soon.
Yes, we hope real soon. We hope those parks are opening real soon, Jessica. But you're right. The Disneyland app is going to be even more important just based upon what we've seen in terms of the changes happening over in Walt Disney World, because everything right now is about less contact. And the way that you do that is with technology. So the Disneyland app is going to likely be the way that folks do all of their ordering. I mean, mobile ordering is pretty much the only way that you can get food right now at Walt Disney World. It's the only way that you can look at menus. There aren't paper menus right now because we don't want to share touching the same surfaces at the moment. So you're going to want to have this app in order to be able to do so much more. And really, things are changing on a dime as we all face this weird new normal together and in these parks being open in unusual ways. So the app is going to be the key to informing guests about what's different, how things have changed, and what they need to know to still make the most of their vacation.
I love it. Yeah, we actually used our phones to pull up the menus at Downtown Disney as well. And then also to pay for things, right? Because we're kind of used to these changes in technology outside of Disneyland with contactless payments, but it's nice to see Disney incorporating that and really putting that on the front lines to help us navigate through this time.
Very sure. And of course, as these things change, we'll be continuing to update everyone in our Disneyland with Kids Facebook group so that you can make the most of whatever changes are going to be in store to the app when we finally do reopen the Disneyland Resort.
It's clear there are so many great features to explore, and the Disneyland app is certainly a winner for us. As we wrap up today's podcast, let's end with our traditional Disneyland Would You Rather. This is perfect because you can find both of these things on the Disneyland app. But unfortunately, there's no way to make a reservation. This comes from Ashley B. Would you rather spend the night in Mickey's house or Minnie's house in Mickey's Toontown?
Great question. So, even though I'm a huge Minnie Mouse fan, I am going to have to choose Mickey's house because it has all those cavernous walkthroughs and different places to explore. So, I think it would be a little bit more of an adventure for a sleepover. But, no offense to my favorite female mouse, right?
Oh, that's perfect because I'm picking Minnie's house, so we could just be neighbors, and that'll be fantastic. One reason she has all the cute pink things going on. We can have a tea party. I believe she already has a cake baking, so that's great. We'll enjoy that. It'll just be a great time.
That kitchen that she has is really awesome. Swear I could not get my daughter when she was about 3.5 out of that kitchen. We must have spent an hour there. So she would pick Minnie's. She would be with you too.
Sounds good. I'll have her over. You've been listening to Jessica and Leslie talk all about the official Disneyland app. Continue the conversation in the Disneyland with Kids Facebook group, and we'll talk to you again real soon.